Welcome to the Explainer. Last time, we were deep in the chaotic world of Mesopotamia. Well, today, we're heading somewhere completely different. We're going to a civilization defined by order, by predictability, and by one single, all-consuming obsession: defeating death.
To really get ancient Egypt, you have to start right here, with this fundamental contrast. On one side, you've got Mesopotamia, right? A constant, brutal struggle for survival against violent, unpredictable rivers. And what did that create? An anxious culture that saw its gods as angry and punishing. But then you have Egypt, and it's a whole different story. A story built not on surviving chaos, but on engineering eternity. And it all comes from the confidence you get from a single, gentle, predictable river.
So where does this all begin? Well, it all starts with the very heart of Egypt, a feature so important that the historian Herodotus famously said,
But this gift wasn't just water. It was something so much bigger. It was predictability. It was cosmic certainty. And honestly, that one idea is the key that unlocks the entire Egyptian soul.
I mean, the Nile acted like this perfect cosmic clock, and the entire Egyptian year was built around its rhythm. First you had Akhet, the inundation, not a destructive flood, but a gentle, welcome one that brought fresh, fertile silt. Then came Perit, the emergence, when the waters would pull back to reveal this amazing, rich black soil they called Kemet. And finally Shimu, the harvest. You see, this wasn't chaos, this was a divine, repeating promise, year after year.
and that clockwork river? It created their core belief system, a concept called Ma'at. Now, this wasn't just a word, it was the fundamental operating system for their entire universe. It meant order, truth, balance, justice, everything. To the Egyptians, the world was this perfect, stable machine, and the whole point of their civilization was just to keep that divine balance in check.
And get this, their geography basically supercharged this whole idea of order. It wasn't just orderly, it was incredibly isolated. Think of it like a natural fortress. You've got impassable deserts to the east and west, the Mediterranean to the north, and uncrossable river rapids to the south. For almost 3,000 years, Egypt lived in this perfect protected bubble. They didn't have to waste energy on defense. They could focus all of it on eternity.
So in a universe built on perfect order, who is responsible for keeping the whole machine running?
Well, the answer wasn't a king, at least not in the way Mesopotamia had kings. A Mesopotamian king was a man, a servant who prayed to the gods for help. The Egyptian pharaoh, on the other hand, he was a god, the divine, right here on earth.
I mean, the pharaoh's job description was just out of this world. In life, he was the living embodiment of the sky god Horus. And in death, his journey wasn't over. He would merge with Osiris, the god of the underworld. And his ultimate responsibility? To maintain Ma'at. It was literally his job to make sure the sun rose and the Nile flooded. He wasn't just a ruler, he was the universe's insurance policy.
Okay, so this leads to a really big question, right? If your king is a god, can he actually die?
And for them, the answer was a loud, resounding no. Death was just a transition. This belief led them to create the most ambitious engineering projects in human history. The pyramids, you see, were not just tombs. They were, in essence, resurrection machines.
And just look at the design. It wasn't random. The shape was meant to look like the rays of the sun breaking through the clouds. It was a permanent stone ramp for the pharaoh's soul to climb up and join the stars. A launch pad to the heavens, making sure the divine king could be reborn just like the sun god Ra was reborn every single morning.
Okay, but for this whole cosmic machine to actually work, for the soul to be resurrected, it needed one absolutely critical component to function correctly.
It needed an anchor. You see, the Egyptians believed the soul had two parts: the Ka, which was your life force, and the Ba, your unique personality. But here's the catch. After death, for the Ka and Ba to survive, they had to be able to return to a physical body they could recognize. If the body was destroyed, the soul was lost forever, in what they terrifyingly called a second death.
And that fear, that absolute terror of a second death, is what drove them to perfect mummification. And this was not just wrapping a body in some cloth, it was an incredibly advanced chemical and anatomical process. The brain was removed, the organs were preserved, the body was completely dried out in natron salt, and only then was it wrapped and coated in resin. They were creating an eternal vessel, something the soul could find and recognize for thousands of years.
Now, to manage this whole civilization obsessed with eternity, from building pyramids to performing sacred rituals, Egypt needed a system of record-keeping that was just as unique as its worldview.
Remember Sumerian cuneiform? It was basically a tool for accounting, an ancient Excel spreadsheet. But Egyptian hieroglyphs were in a totally different league. They called them the words of the gods. For them, writing wasn't just practical, it was a straight-up magical act.
I mean, this belief was so profound that to write something down was to literally make it eternal and real. And on the flip side, to erase a king's name from a monument was to destroy their soul forever. They even thought the script was alive. Sometimes scribes would draw dangerous animals in tombs with missing legs just in case the written image decided to spring to life.
But Egypt's true information revolution didn't come from stone. Nope, it came from a simple reed that grew all along the Nile: papyrus. A Mesopotamian library was literally a room full of heavy, brittle clay bricks. An Egyptian library? You could hold it in your hand.
And seriously, this was the ancient world's Silicon Valley moment. All of a sudden, for the first time ever, knowledge was lightweight and portable. This made their bureaucracy incredibly efficient, and their ideas, everything from advanced surgery to poetry, became exportable. Papyrus literally laid the foundation for all the great libraries of the ancient world.
This revolution, of course, created a new and powerful elite, the scribes. Just listen to the proverb, "Be a scribe, he directs the whole world." They made up only about 1% of the population, but man, they were exempt from taxes and held immense power, proving that the pen, or I guess the reed brush, was truly mightier than the sword.
And then, for millennia after Egypt fell, this entire world went silent. All its stories and secrets were locked away in a script that no one on Earth could read, until the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799 finally gave us the key, allowing us to hear Egypt's voice once more.
So, when you boil it all down, ancient Egypt was a civilization built on 3 core pillars. Its heart was the predictable, life-giving rhythm of the Nile. Its mind was a powerful belief in Ma'at, a universe of perfect order. And its will was a monumental, single-minded effort to deny death and achieve eternity, using stone, ritual, and ink.
But here's the thing. History wasn't standing still. While Egypt was busy trying to stop time, the rest of the world was moving on. Next time, we journey to a mysterious civilization with no grand temples, but with advanced plumbing. And then to another, where a dragon was just beginning to awaken.
In the next episode, we embark on a journey to the lands where dragons, wise philosophers, and the first great empires rose.